Hey, we're here at the Unblinded Real Raw on Trajectory Tuesday. And boy, do we have a couple of rock stars for you today. If it's your first day, we're here to demonstrate that influence is a superpower. And here's where we unlock it. And we unlock it in this lunch meets dinner, conversational dynamic, having some fun with brilliant and successful people on the judging and participating side. And what is the key is this. We run around the world not understanding how we show up in our influence. And there's access points that lead to exponential differences. It's like, how did Dr. Phil become Dr. Phil? Well, because Oprah has a superpower. She waves her hand and Dr. Phil goes from having a couple $1 million net worth to a $400 million net worth. And by the way, it's not just about money. It's how Gandhi did it and Mother Teresa did it and all the great spiritual leaders of all time who had integrity amassed massive impact amongst millions and billions of people. And even if you're seeking just to increase your income level a little bit, you can increase it massively. You want to have your first home, second home, first jet, or you simply want to scale and leverage your business so you can coach your kids' sports teams during the summer. These are the powers and skill sets that we're unlocking. Elle, you're a rock star. Welcome your first day as the role player on The Real Raw. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Sean. I'm very excited, and I got to meet these wonderful people here in the green room, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, and Elle, for those that don't know Elle, you will. Elle is a part of our program and is an amazing entrepreneur. I'm learning from Elle. She's truly incredible in every part of her self-influence and process mastery, but particularly a rock star in the space of process mastery. And she's an acquisition specialist. Her current company is a landscaping company. She bought for $4 million. 2 years later, turned into a $20 million enterprise. Elle, you are a rock star, and you're about to introduce some rock stars. So let us have it.
Okay. We have Tony Grebmeier. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Ship Offers, which I love. He's first and foremost a father. He's an entrepreneur, podcast host, journal creator, and host of the Be Fulfilled community. He's most well known for building a multi-million-dollar business. I love that, Tony. His mission in life is to create a community where entrepreneurs know they can achieve anything they want despite their past.
Oh, amazing. Tony, welcome, brother.
Thank you. It's an honor. I appreciate it, Elle and Sean and everybody.
My goodness, that is one heck of a voice. Might you have had a career in history in radio, sir?
I started in radio at age 11.
Wow.
Went off to summer camp. I remember being that little kid going, "What's that?" I was on stage doing the 10 Little Indians, and the professor goes, or teacher goes, "Oh, that's the radio station." I said, "Bye." And I went, and I remember spinning my very first LP. I'll date myself. Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round, Round Like a Record, Baby. That was my very first radio way back in the day. So I've been in love with using my voice, and I use it in all platforms all the time.
Yeah. And brother, you have one of the most incredible voices, and I think I need to take voice lessons from you. So if you could direct me appropriately, I would be a big fan and very grateful.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm happy to serve in any way I can show up today. I mean, today's a gift. Like today is like an absolute gift. And I usually center myself around this idea. On October 9th, 2008, I wanted to take my own life. And it just wasn't working well. I was in the middle of a separation, looking to file for divorce. And I was at the lowest of lows. My life was kind of miserable, and it was self-inflicted. And I started writing my suicide note. And I remember I got a phone call during that note, and I'll get choked up just because it's something that I center myself on to know what I'm capable of. And my buddy John, he said, "Hey, I'm coming to see you." And I'm like, "All right, great." I threw everything into the other room, closed the door, and he came in and gave me a hug. And he says, "You know, Tony, your life has meaning and purpose, but how you're living and what you're doing right now doesn't." Mm-hmm. And every day since then, I've looked at today is the only day that matters. Nothing that I did yesterday is going to have any impact really other than just in choices that I made. I can't change anything I didn't do, but I have the ability to work on what I am and who I want to become each and every day when I wake up. So I wake up with contribution and connection on my mind. So when I received a message from David to show up here today, I said yes, not knowing what it was other than a fact of a superhuman on the other end said, "You should go show up and do this." And that's how I'm here. And so however I can be in this group today and love and serve and give, that's what God got me up and got me out of bed for today.
Extraordinary. David Gonzalez is quite the rock star. I completely agree, as are you. And where are you physically located today, Tony?
We are in beautiful Colorado, just outside of Denver. I live in a community called the Highlands Ranch. My office is over in Inglewood. So I've been in the fulfillment business for the past 19 years. So I help everybody really work on personal fulfillment. My business is all professional fulfillment.
Outstanding. And what do you do for fun, Tony?
Well, recently my wife and I got some electric e-bikes. And so we have 8,000 acres of trails right behind our house. Not my own 8,000 acres. It's somebody else's, but I get to use their trails. So we've been riding mountain bikes. I love helping people. I love getting my hands dirty in whatever it is that I can do. Really just how to serve. I think, that's the greatest gift that I awoke to, is the opportunity that it could all be taken from me, because I remember wanting to lose it all. And now I want to just figure it all out and help people to understand the same thing.
No, extraordinary. And again, thank you for being here. We're going to have some fun today, and we're going to show people what's happening in your world, your skill sets, and unlocking their own. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Elle, second, we have another extraordinary human.
Yes, we have Chip Franks. He is an author, trainer, and speaker. He's fought his own darkness. He's been depressed. He survived a stroke in its aftermath. He felt despair over the birth of his child with special needs. He's also studied the science of self-development and still been extremely down and not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. And through all this, he's been blessed enough to overcome it. Over the years, he's been collecting tools, philosophies, and practices that have helped him maintain consistent internal bliss. And he truly feels it's his mission in life to share these with people who, like him, have struggled with self-worth and feeling like they deserve joy and success in their lives.
Extraordinary. Chip, welcome, brother.
You're on mute, Chip.
Tiffany, can we help unmute Chip?
Yes, I am trying.
Looks like he might be frozen.
Does look that way.
You know what? How about this? Chip, we're going to bounce on back. Tiffany, if you could call Chip, and let's work through those technical details, and let's keep going with our incredible judges. Al?
Okay. We have Jessica Leiter, known as Positive Jessica. I love it. She is the co-founder and panelist at Hack.Mankind. She's a master trainer at Test de la Passion. She is also the CEO and founder, of course, of PositiveJessica.com. Welcome.
Positive Jessica, what's up?
Oh, doing amazing. Blessed to be here. Grateful for the Unblinded movement. Grateful for you, Sean. Grateful for every single soul tuning in today and being here. I'm just so excited to hear more about what Chip and Tony are going to be sharing with us, and excited to be working with you, Elle, Tony Rodrigues, and Janine as well, of course. So anything I can do, this is just fun. This is play for me, 100%. So excited to be here. Grateful.
Yeah. How is Bodhi?
Bodhi's good. So for those who don't know, Bodhi's my little puppy. I've actually had to go. I'm in a hotel right now. I'm moving to Florida and I don't have my apartment yet. And so I'm in the hotel lobby to have a better internet connection to make sure I'm here and present for you. And Bodhi's in the room, but he's having a great time. I think he loves quarantine season. He gets mommy to himself the whole time.
Amazing. And Jessica, final, because we do unblind people here, Tony, Chip, and everybody. Could you unblind people to what New Jersey brought to your life in the ocean for the very first time, and what you think about the beaches and oceans of New Jersey?
I definitely can. And so guys, for those who know me, I'm from Switzerland, from Portugal. I've traveled all over the place. I've been to the Middle East. I've been to like Thailand. I've been everywhere. And then I've been to places where you're supposed to see these beautiful creatures. And so Mona and Sean once told me, like, hey, we saw dolphins. And it's like, it's a beautiful concept. And Sean's like, yeah, we see dolphins all the time here. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So one cold morning, I'm walking Bodhi, because I was staying for about a month in New Jersey, beautiful Long Beach Island, thanks to Sean. And I'm walking Bodhi with my hood, those like really thick coats and like the hoodie, like winter jacket, right? And I see, and I look, and my thought was like, who's the crazy dude snorkeling in the middle of the ocean? Like, seriously. That was my thought. And then I look closer, and it's a dolphin, and then it's 3 dolphins, and then it's 10 dolphins. And I was like, what? Can't believe it. And then not only did it happen once, but it happened twice. And Shannon, a friend of ours, joined me at the beach, and then she was like, oh, I want to see dolphins. And literally 10 minutes later, a bunch of dolphins showed up. Literally, like when the waves are closing, there's the dolphin and the baby dolphin. Oh my goodness, guys. It's just such a beautiful paradise. I mean, Long Beach Island, I never thought. It's so peaceful as well. I slept so well. It's like, yeah.
Thank you,
You're right,
Jessica.
Sean.
Yeah, for well, thank you. And so for a lot of things that we're doing here, folks, is just helping people see what they don't see. And that's fun and joking. And I'm from New Jersey and proud of it. And we have a good time with it. But it's the same thing with everything that we do in our life. There's certain things that are so obvious, so present that we're ignoring. So Jessica just mentioned, she's been in the most beautiful places all around the world, never saw dolphins before. And because of a distortion, like a TV show like The Jersey Shore, people would have a conclusion about, oh, New Jersey beaches, like yuck, gross, which is completely untrue. Same thing for marketing, same thing for selling, same thing for creating financial abundance when we do it with integrity. That's what we're here to unlock. So who do we have next up? Thank you, Jessica.
Yes. Did you want to go back to Chip?
Yeah, is Chip here?
Yes, he's on. Chip, are you there?
I am here. Yes, absolutely. And I heard the beautiful introduction before, and my computer froze up literally right before you got to me. So thank you for the beautiful introduction, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so thank you for that. And technical difficulties will not derail us today.
No way. And thank you for your vulnerability, both with you and Tony, and your shares of your background and what's happening. And so thank you for that. And where are you calling in from today, Chip?
Oh, just north of Austin, actually a little north of Georgetown, where I understand you have an office. So yeah, I'm a stone's throw away from there.
Oh, super cool, and appreciate it enormously. And we're asking everybody, hey, like, what are you doing for fun during Corona, and what's been present for you? You could always come to New Jersey and hang out with dolphins, Chip, or you could do whatever you're doing in Texas. What's happening?
Oh gosh, you know what? Yeah, I feel a little guilty saying it, but the quarantine has been awesome. It's just been wonderful to hole up with the whole family. We're taking lots of walks together, having family dinners together, and it's just been wonderful. And as far as things that I enjoy, I enjoy my work. I enjoy things like journaling and meditation, and I'm an introvert by nature, so this is kind of up my alley these days.
Yeah, well, that's outstanding. And again, I appreciate you being here, and we're gonna have some fun today. So thank you, Chip.
Awesome.
Elle.
You're very welcome.
Elle, who do we got?
We have Janine Monize. She is the Director of Organizational Development at Ashley Home Store in Metro New York in New Jersey. Welcome, Janine.
Janine is also a rock star in the space of impacting lives, coaching, and training and development, and is one of the most impressive people of communication influence and depth of listening that I've ever met. So Janine, how are you today, and welcome?
I am doing spectacular, Sean. Thank you. Thanks so much. I have to tell you, it's so exciting to be here. I've been an avid listener since this Real Raw kicked off, and I've learned so much from each role play that I take away and I use it that day. So now actually being part of it is just such a gift. So I'm so excited. I do want to jump back and just say, you know, Tony, right out of the gate, the way that you were just so vulnerable, that in itself was a gift as well. So even today, if that is all I received, what a reminder. You just really just lit up my world today. So just thank you for that kind of vulnerability. But Sean, I am thrilled to be here. And a great part of my day was also speaking with you. So thank you.
No, thank you, Janine. Loved it. And my favorite part of my conversation with Janine is that, Sean, you know, I would really appreciate and feel heard if you could tell me what you heard me say. And that was a beautiful and brilliant reminder, because I think I'm like about as good a listener as they come. And Janine was even up-leveling my listening. So thank you for that today, Janine.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And Elle, last but certainly not least, truly, and you know what? I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with this vibe. So I'm a Bruce Springsteen fan, and Bruce has this, like, there's like Clarence, But then there's also this like vibe with him and Steve Van Zandt. And somehow just popped for me is like the vibe I feel with Tony Rodrigues, fellow New Jersey, and all kinds of incredible stuff. You're about to introduce him, El. Is like that Miami Steve vibe. Love this man. He's an incredible soul. Who we have, El?
We have Tony Rodrigues, known as Get Up and Grow with Tony Rodrigues, strategist, coach, and consultant at YBL, Your Best Life Strategies, real estate broker associate at eXp Realty. He's a Tony Robbins trainer and also a partner at Titan Management. Welcome, Tony.
Tony R., what's up, brother?
Hey, everybody. So good to be here. Always great to spend time with great people. And listen, I'm happy to really happy to be on here again. And I love the program. I love Unblinded. You know, as you know, one of the things that I told you originally is when you started Unblinded, I'm doing the Get Up and Grow. I always say that you've got to become unblinded, right, in order to get up and grow. So you've got to be willing to see what you don't see. So I absolutely resonate with everything that you do. I think that you're just one of the most genuine, authentic people and integrity-driven people that I know. So I'm proud to spend time with you. And again, New Jersey is a great state. I know, listen, there's a lot of us here from New Jersey right now, so it's great. And look, I'm blessed to be quarantined where I am because I also live in a beautiful part of New Jersey, not the Jersey Shore, but it is horse country, believe it or not. And so a fun fact for you, Chip, is that being from Texas, is that New Jersey is actually the horse capital of the country. There's more horses per capita in New Jersey than in any other state in the union. And the U.S. equestrian team is just down the street from me. I
had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, listen, we all learn something new every day. Yeah. The U.S. equestrian team is like a mile away. Couple interesting things unique that I've been doing, aside from really sharing a lot of stories and a lot of knowledge and being involved, obviously, with my show, Tony Talks, and being on other shows as well. I continue to learn from Sean and from Unblinded and from other sources. I'm a beekeeper, amateur beekeeper, right? So I've got a couple of beehives out back. I've got an organic garden and chickens and all that stuff. And yes, it is New Jersey.
Equestrian, like learning, beekeeping. Chip and Tony, did you have any idea that these are the things you'd be learning about today? Dolphins, beekeeping, equestrianness, and that's what the Real Raw is about.
No,
we're done now.
You know, when I got out of bed this morning, it wasn't the conversation I had in my head, but I'm excited to be here today. So thank you. I think, Tony, I just got off of a show I run. I had Joseph McClendon on and Vic Wooten and my buddy Darren Barasami today. And so just talking and hearing your voice just reminded me of the great conversations we get to have and the ability to go out there and really create what we want for our life. So bees in your backyard, you know, all the good stuff going on. So this is gonna be fun.
You know, it's funny. So Joseph's a friend of mine. I just sent him a package just before getting on the show. And I actually just sent him some honey, oddly enough. So yeah, I did see that announcement for it. So cool. I recognize the name. I'm like, why does the name sound familiar? Because I had just seen the advertisement for that. I didn't get to watch it, unfortunately, but I'd love to catch the replay. Yeah. Awesome. Always great to speak with great people.
Absolutely. And Tony, just because again, I go all through hearing, right? Because I have my visual challenge. I feel like we encountered each other. Tony of, Be Fulfilled. Have we encountered each other somewhere before? Do you recall that, or you do not?
Hey, you know what? Good energy attracts good energy. So maybe that's all I know so far. Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
just like
if David said yes to having me come on, I'm sure there's some likelihood of us traveling in channels together.
Yeah, I feel like I heard your voice. Like it is so clear to me, and I don't forget voices. So super interesting. I know if you, I believe you know this, Chip and Tony. I'm blind. Do you know that, or you do not?
Yes, I heard that yesterday, and I wouldn't be able to know it unless you told us. I've seen you with the whiteboard behind you and writing, and it's pretty amazing. So I'm impressed, and I love everything you've done.
No, well, thank you, and love what you're up to as well. And I'm so thankful to David again. So, yeah, this is like dinner party meets game show. Meets like mastery learning all collectively with a little bit of like the NFL meets like UFC and March Madness, all of it combined. So we're like done with the beautiful pleasantries and the deep connection. And now we're going to connect in a completely different way. And we're going to roll it up and make some beautiful things happen but continuing the authentic connection just in a new and different way. So how this works, Chip and Tony, is we have 2 rounds. There's a 3-minute round and a 3-minute round, but it's one conversation. Sometimes guests don't hear that, and judges don't either. It's cut down the middle, 3 minutes, then 3 minutes. Ella's going to be like, yeah, I got about a minute to go and I got to grab a call. And she's like, oh, I got to take this call. We'll continue in a bit, right? And so that's going to be the cut point. The first round, what we're really looking for is to do this. Influence is based on, I hear you, right? I hear you, your message. I accept your message. None of that can happen, as we all learned from Charlie Brown. And what did Charlie Brown's teacher say, Elle?
I do not know.
You do not know? Who knows what Charlie Brown said?
I know that, yes.
Yeah. Right? So that's the absence of emotional rapport. So this first round is how we're not hearing wah, 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 wah. Because we're opening up emotional rapport, however you open it, right? And there's things that we teach here, but let's see where Chip and Tony are in their amazingness. And we're also accessing relevant pain. We're putting something at stake because our listening is motivated, unfortunately, much more by pain than by pleasure. So what a lot of defects are in human influence, whether it's selling a product or service or talking to our kids about what we're doing or what we're up to or anything in between, the challenge we have is when we start benefit throwing. If there's nothing at stake for the listener, then when we move into the second half of this, which is delivering what it is, whatever the it is that we're asking for a yes in, and then ultimately the yes, it lands completely differently. The dynamics shift enormously. So round 1 is opening, listening, putting something at stake, AKA touching on pain. Round 2 is satisfying that pain with us, our product or service, and having a yes. And Chip and Tony and you may be going, what? What yes? Here's the cool part. Whatever yes you want. So Chip and Tony, what I always suggest to people is this. Whatever is the most important yes that you would like to create in the world, that's what I suggest. But it could be anything. It could be like, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee. That's fine. But what might be even more fun and more real and more raw is what's the biggest yes you're seeking in the world? Is it, you want to make a sale of something? Is it a book deal? Is it getting on somebody's stage or podcast? Is it some idea you're inventing, raising money, whatever? The most relevant yes to you is what I would suggest. Of course, it's a free country. It's a free real raw. You can have the yes be whatever you want. The only thing we need to do first is to tell Elle, you don't have to tell her the yes you're seeking. Just tell Elle who she is. So Elle could be herself. She could be anybody you want to, right? And it would obviously only be relevant to the yes. So far, Chip and Tony, any questions about that?
No, I'm just going to let Chip go first.
Well, this is how we decide. That's interesting. So is it fair to say that Texas is further away than Colorado from New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
Do we agree on that or disagree? We have to get a slide rule and ask Alexa.
The beekeeper may know.
Yeah, which one's further away?
Yeah, Texas would be closer to New Jersey. I believe that Texas is closer, but not sure.
I'm wrong geographically. Okay,
so we go pretty far east as well. So
this is interesting. Alexa, how many miles is New Jersey from Colorado?
From Colorado, New Jersey is 1,769 miles.
1,769. And Alexa, how far is Austin, Texas from New Jersey?
Austin, Texas is 1,468 miles.
It's close. 1,769. So that would mean that Colorado is the away team. So Tony, I have a 1 or a 2 under the table. What number do you think I have under there?
1.
It's a 2. So Chip has won the toss. So here's the deal. Chip, you get to elect to go first or second in round 1. If you go first in round 1, you retain choice for round 2. If you go second in round 1, then Tony will have choice in round 2. So what's it going to be, Chip?
You know what? I'll just go ahead and go first. Tony had told me that, and man, it would be tough to follow him anyhow, at least on the first round. So let's go that way.
You retain choice in round 2. So Chip, who will Elle be for this role play?
You know what? Elle is going to be her wonderful self, and we can just take this as if it were a real life conversation.
Fantastic. Chip, before we drop in, it's a 3-minuter. Remember, it's a split conversation, 3 minute, then pause, then 3 minutes and continue. So just like she's got to grab a quick call in between. So it's one quite long conversation. Judges, there needs to be no yes in round one. There's not who am I in round one. It's the depth of listening, opening up, rapport building, and putting something at stake, aka pain. Those are the categories we're judging on. Chip, any more questions?
I think I'm good for now.
Awesome. Elle, take us in. 3 minutes.
Okay, let's start.
Okay. Well, it's been wonderful to meet you so far. And what I'd like to do, if I can, is I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. And just feel free to be as honest as you like with this. And I might ask a couple of personal questions. And if they don't resonate with you, if they're not good, then that's completely fine, and just let me know this. But I have a very deep intention here to be able to help you. And if I can help you, that's wonderful, and we can take this further, and I can tell you a little bit more about what I do. And if I am unable to help you with this, then that's completely fine too. There's no pressure on this, but my intention here is to serve. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. And the first one is, if I can ask, on a scale from 1 to 10 right now, 1 being complete despair and 10 being the absolute heights of joy, where do you see yourself right now?
9.
9. That is fantastic. That's wonderful. I've been kind of all over the scale myself, and lately have been at the top of the scale too. So I'm very happy to know that. And you are now happy, and you're doing wonderfully here. But can I ask, have you ever taken any kind of course or gotten any coaching on happiness or creating joy in your life?
I did. I have just about a minute and a half left, just to let you know. Then I've got to take that phone call. Yes, in fact, I took a course on happiness through Stanford.
Nice.
Maybe, I don't even remember. Recently, in the last couple of years. So yeah, I did take a class on happiness.
Okay. And I guess what did you like, and what is something that you wish it had more of?
Sorry, what was the question?
Can I ask you just what you liked about the course that you took with Stanford? Is it something that seemed to last for you, and something that created some lasting change?
I was really, I'm a scientist at heart, so I really liked the science behind it. Like, it was all research driven. And it was interesting to see, like, the things that we think are going to make us happy and the things that we think are going to make us miserable really aren't the things that actually make us happy or miserable. So I liked it. Oh, I got to take this call, but I will be back to you shortly.
All right. Chip, thank you very much. Chip, round 1. Chip, what is present for you, sir?
What is present for me is how fast 3 minutes goes. the fact that I had one last question as my call to action, and honestly didn't get a chance to get there. So that's a little frustrating. And when asking a question like the 1 to 10, you always run the risk of someone being at a 9 or 10. And I was somewhat prepared for that, but I didn't get a chance to really recover. And one, Elle, I'm super happy that you are a 9. That is awesome, and that's wonderful. And I think I have something here that can take you from a 9 to 10 and make happiness even something that's a little more consistent, something that's more internal, and something that you can keep with you. And getting a chance to explain the difference between happiness and joy, which is part of what I do here. But again, within 3 minutes, it's a little tough to do. So but I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah. Chip, you can have your second 3 minutes, right? It's just a continuation pause. So all that can come in, and rest assured, this is extraordinarily challenging. And that's what everybody shares is in these 3 minute dynamics. And one of the things, Chip, Tony, everybody that we're here to support is the idea that if we could do this in 6 minutes, we could do this anywhere. And there's going to be moments in time for all of us where we have like, oh my God, we bumped into X person, and we have a moment to create a scotoma, a blank spot in them, and have them interested in learning more and generating a deeper connection and relationship. So super challenging. Thank you, Chip and Tony, for coming into this, highly challenging situation of like 3 minutes and 3 minutes and people watching. It's remarkable that generosity and vulnerability. And we're here to help like unlock a few things in case we are ever under that kind of time constraint, how we can advance. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. All right. So Elle, what's present for you real quickly? If we had one word, one sentence on the positive, one word, one sentence on the opportunity for growth, what would you say?
One, it probably would have been more helpful for Chip if he had said for me to be someone that was depressed. And two, it goes back to your training, Sean, of don't ask something, like don't guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was...
don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. Is that?
Well...
Or Chip, you know what? So it could sound like this, possibly, right? And by the way, well, let me ask this first. Chip, are you okay if I share, would it be supportive if I share a little bit of a couple of dynamics that might support an acceleration in something there?
Absolutely. I'm an open book on this. I am literally taking notes. So
awesome.
I would be honored.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I might jump in. You know what? Actually, let's do it after, to not have any unfair advantage. Let's do it after Tony goes, and then we'll drop in on this, and I will not forget. Like I'm dialed in on a couple of things that can make that, because I'm going to disagree, Al, and say this. I am really confident, and Chip, tell me if I'm wrong, that if you meet a 9 in happiness, that you want to take them to a 10, because a 9 could be extraordinarily different than a 10 in your work. Is that a fair statement?
That's a very fair statement. Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to access that. So I think, Al, that I agree, no guessing, but I think Chip is totally cool if you're a 9 and can help get to a 10. And that's what his work stands for. And if you're a 0 or a 1, he's going to help you get up into the 9s, 10s also. Chip, is that who you are?
Yes. Yeah. And thank you.
Yeah, we're going to work on that access. Okay. So of the communication dynamic around how we get there. So it doesn't hit that dead spot of, because I am sure, Chip, that 99, and we joke around, hey, Chip, so ask me, you see a picture of Muhammad Ali behind me if I was home, right? And ask me, hey, you must be a big Muhammad Ali fan, right? Please ask me that question.
You must be a big Muhammad Ali fan. Am I right?
Dude, no, I know that picture's still on the wall, but my ex-wife gave it to me. She was a Muhammad Ali fan. She was such a B. Everything she ever did in my life was wrong and ridiculous and selfish, and that's why that picture's still on my wall. So yeah, no, I'm not a Muhammad Ali fan. It's like, okay, now what? So when we guess, we leave ourselves in an awkward position that we could get an answer like, hey, have you ever taken a course in happiness? Actually, I did. Last week at Stanford. It was amazing, right? So that's like, I was definitely not expecting that answer, because I would imagine, Chip, that 99% of people you talk to have not just taken a course in happiness at Stanford University. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. Very few people do that.
Yeah. So, and thank you, because you have given me a better example than the Muhammad Ali example I use all the time. So that is a beautiful example, because like whoever took a happiness class at Stanford, and Elle did. So when we guess, we open ourselves up to just like, yeah, I did. Like, and it could kill rapport in a moment by guessing. And we'll talk about an alternative with open-ended questioning and how we get there exact same place anyway, that works 100% of the time, totally in integrity and authenticity. Okay. So Tony, are you ready?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chip. Tony, are you ready?
I guess I am ready, because I have drank about 120 ounces of water in the last hour, and my bladder is about to erupt. So I got 3 minutes before I got to run. So of course, let's go.
Amazing. All right, Elle. Hey, Elle, let's do one thing. Let's not have the alarm go off at 3 minutes.
Oh.
Let's set the timer and just say, yeah, I got to run in case, for Chip. Like we went up that last 10 or 15 second, we can overflow from there. I know our producers told you to like use clocks and make sure we cut it shorter. I know like what's happening here, Elle, but we're going to make this a little bit more fluid, Sean Callagy style. So let's drop in. Elle, 3 minutes, go.
Oh, I don't know who I am. Tony, who would
Elle, you are Elle. I want you to be who you are, what you got out of bed for today.
I do not
Careful with
recommend
that.
I do not recommend that.
Chip, I'm following Chip's lead.
Fire away.
All right. Hey, Elle, thanks so much for just creating some space for us to jump on a call really quick. I got to tell you, learning just a little bit about who you are, listening to how you show up in the world. I'm a blind spot master. I love helping people figure out their blind spots. When you got out of bed today, what was the first thing you thought of?
Work.
Work. How important is your work to the world?
Pretty important. I mean, it also is my passion. I love it. It's fun. So it doesn't feel like work to me.
And when you're like in what you do, what you love, do you feel most alive? Do you feel like you're plugged in like your cell phone to the socket? You're just getting a charge. You're just energized?
Absolutely, 100%.
And do you ever get to the end of your day feeling drained, or do you feel like you could just keep going?
It depends. Like certainly some days are more challenging than others that I do feel drained, but generally, I mean, sometimes I'm so excited I have a hard time getting to sleep because I'm just so excited.
So when you imagine yourself getting ready to go to bed and you have a hard time like trying to go to sleep, what's the number one thing that shows up for you? Always, it's almost a nightly reoccurrence. Like when you can't go to sleep, instead of counting sheep, you're counting something going on in your life. What is that?
Well, for me, I can't usually when I fall asleep very quickly. So when I can't fall asleep, it's because I'm so excited about what's going to happen next.
All right. And what do you do with that information that's in your head?
If it's something that is useful for my business, I write it down. And then I just try to, calm myself down and say, okay, there's plenty of time tomorrow to be excited about this. Now I need to sleep.
I love it. One of the tools that I love to ask is, could you paint me a picture with the last thing you thought of before you went to bed last night if I gave you a blank canvas and some tools? Could you paint me a Picasso? Could you paint me a lion? Could you paint me whatever it is that you saw?
Yes, we have a family tradition that we do gratitude right before bedtime. So with my husband and my son and myself, and I always go last. So my last thought is always how grateful I am. Grateful for my team, for my business, for our wonderful neighborhood, which I adore, our beautiful house. So always the last thoughts are of gratitude.
Isn't that interesting that you go last? Always the one who takes care of ourselves always comes last. We're always so busy taking care of others. I'm really, really, really excited to have this opportunity to be with you today.
Right. Last 10 seconds.
So the one thing that I'm going to share with you is something that will change your life forever. But I need you to call me back because I know that your phone's about to ring because I have a way of predicting the future.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tony. All right. So Tony, what's happening? What's present for you, sir?
For I think the presence part for me, with Elle being Elle, just a bubbly, joyous, happy, fun person to be around. Your energy is infectious, right? So it's really easy to have a conversation with you. It's not a struggle. And the thing that I love, and it's what I really meant, is the oxygen mask is the last thing that we apply. We're so busy giving, we forget to take care of ourselves.
For sure.
So what showed up for me, just in that moment of just having some time with you, I go last too. And that's something that I'm working through. because it's okay to go first. Do you see how I even didn't want to go first today? And I said, Chip, go, because there's something in me that I always have to go last. And I really want to go first.
Wow. Very powerful and immense vulnerability. And thank you for that, Tony. Really enjoying getting to know you guys better. This is really cool. And this is what this is about, right? So yeah, we're talking about influence, and there's like judges, and we're going to comment on different things, but this is really what it's about. Getting to know one another at a deeper level, unlocking not just our influence, our self-mastery, our process mastery, and that's what we do here. And you guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an honor.
You took my
and
line.
Tony, that was amazing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You took a line away from me. Oh gosh, Chip, I literally thought I had a switch because you used three things that I use, and I was like, oh, I love this. Chip, your energy's great. I know we've met somewhere before. You look really, really familiar. So I just wanted to say it's awesome. Just having you go first was very helpful for me as well.
Super cool.
Well, you're very welcome. Yes.
Okay. So if I could drop in real quickly, and then we're gonna get to the judges. Couple quick thoughts. So we talked about never guessing. And I think that there's a really, I don't think, it's the work of my life, so I shouldn't say I think. I'm falling into that trap of like going last, and is it my place, Tony, that you just brought up beautifully. So here's what I'm affirmatively saying. There's a mechanism to get rapidly to where we want to get to beautifully with people that feels wildly authentic. So let's drop in for a second. So, hey, Elle, thanks so much for chatting with me a little bit.
You're very welcome, Sean.
Yeah. So thanks. So quick question is, how'd you get involved in all this? Like $4 to $20 million landscaping, and you're on this like real raw thing. Like, what's this about?
Well, I'm,
Pause. Did you feel acknowledged and seen? Okay. Second, you giggled. Why'd you giggle?
Because it's a kind of a long story, and because it's,
it was fun, right? Like being seen is fun. So right off the bat, it's like, and we're in the present. So we always connect in the present and then work backwards. So like you're here, bomb. How'd you get here? What's the story? So go ahead, Elle.
So I acquired the business 2 years ago, this week actually, 2-year team anniversary. And, I just put in some different techniques, and we usually do most of our work through estimating. So we got in a new estimating team that is dynamite, and creating new relationships. Generally, once we get a client, we keep them for a long time. We want to create really strong relationships and get more and more of their work. And we have huge clients, some of the largest home builders in the country, some of the largest general contractors in the country. So it's been really a fun ride.
Yeah. So Elle, I'm hearing it. I know you got to go in like 2 minutes, and I want to honor your time, but extraordinary. But how do you go from like being like the lady of landscaping and building a $4 to $20 million company, acquiring stuff, to being on the Real Raw role play? Like, how'd that happen?
That happened.
Notice pause. Notice repeating the question, because we didn't get the full answer yet. Accelerating, bringing time back into it, implying deep listening, respective time, and also pre-frame, shortening of answer for Elle. Go ahead.
So I guess it started when I felt so, to me, since I'm a scientist, the unblinded formula has I was good at certain things, but not at the whole thing. And I didn't know how to get good at these other parts. And the unblinded formula is just like, oh, that's how I do it. I can do that. I can practice that. I can really improve quickly. And it's just now I feel like I'm unstoppable. And it's just so much excitement. So it started off with me trying to give back to Fernando. Awesome. Team Fernando. Go Thunder.
So Elle, I'm sorry to cut off. What I'm hearing is massive commitment to growth, massive commitment to success, a beautiful heart of generosity and acknowledgement. And so you're just giving back and having fun being here. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay. So quick question, as a person like fully committed to like living life at its largest, how are you doing? Because it sounds like you're in like all sorts of dynamic things. How are you doing?
I can't, this is just so much fun. I can't tell you how excited I am, how much fun. I mean, it really doesn't feel like work. Although I probably work, 12, 14 hours a day, sometimes 16 working with the unblinded team. And so, but it doesn't feel like work. It just is fun. And I am just having the time of my life.
Thank you. And I know you got to take that phone call right now, but here's final. I'm hearing somebody who, despite the fact that you took a company from $4 to $20 million, you took a course in business acceleration. I'd love to, if it's okay, when we come back, share a little bit about myself. Because while it sounds like you're at a 9 point, maybe even 9.9 in happiness, we all know there's another level. You know there's another level. You live that. And that's the space that I operate in. So I'm hearing love, passion, enthusiasm, fire. Would it be okay if I shared a little bit about my work and how we could even maybe tweak a couple little things and maybe add one more 9 to all those 9.99s? Fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. Chip, how did that feel?
That was awesome. That was very good. And I love taking the 9 to the 10 and acknowledging her and finding out where she's at before essentially asking her and then getting an answer that maybe you're not expecting. So
yeah.
that's wonderful. I loved how you built up to that.
And did that represent your work?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, very cool. Tony, any thoughts on that?
No, I loved it. I wrote down the 3 that, super always helpful, acknowledgement, being seen and being heard. Those are our emotions that we want deep down inside. Those are the things that we want to be involved in the conversation, but we also want to be part of the conversation.
Extraordinary. All right, so let's drop in with our incredible judges. Let's kick this off with Jessica, since she was just like here. So Jessica, how are you? And the way I think you know how this works, Jessica, but if you can give about 30 seconds of feedback, 15 seconds or so on the positive side, 15 seconds on the growth opportunity, and a score for each of these incredible people. So please take it away.
Oh my goodness, the score part is going to be hard. So I'll start with the.
Well, wait, Jessica.
Sorry?
So what is the energy of decision? This is going to be your unblinded test, my friend. What is the energy of decision making? There's 4 energies. I'll give you a hint. They are fun, aspirational, goddess, and Zeus.
Zeus.
What's the energy of decision making? Yes.
Zeus.
And what was the energy you wanted to avoid right off the bat, Jessica?
Zeus.
Boom. I love you. And that is a perfect segue. Take it away. Go ahead.
For those who know me, I'm not in Zeus a lot. Oh goodness. All right, let's do this. One of the things I really appreciate about both, is you had great questions. And, Chip, I really feel like you have such a huge heart and you care, and there's a softness to you that makes it, like if it was me, approachable and non-judgmental. It feels really, like, especially if I want to be coached, I want to know that I can just be open and vulnerable and I won't be judged. So that I feel that from you. From you, Tony, I also felt that. And what was more present for me is assertiveness, definitely more like Zeus energy, like we were talking about the energies. And however, what the feedback for both actually for me is I felt like I was being led down a path. Whereas like when Sean did his example, it was really just a conversation. And when I heard both you, Tony, and you, Chip, it was like, okay, he's asking me questions that he's going to want me to say something to then sell me something or tell me I should do something. While Sean, it was really just a conversation of like, oh my goodness, like, like really interested in me. And it wasn't like, predetermined question. I don't know if I'm making sense. Does that make sense? Does that land?
That's perfect sense. Absolutely.
Awesome. So now comes the grading part.
Yes.
Yes.
So is it like 0 to 10? Is that how it works?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, I'll always take an F. You can just draw a line afterwards and make it an A. So I'm good. Whatever you got.
That's very true. And you can, and Jessica, so you can give decimals. And by the way, we all learn from each other. So Jessica has such incredible, Chip and Tony, would you agree that Jessica has a lot of gravitational pull energy? Like likable, charisma. Tony, you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. Chip?
Absolutely. Her name says it.
Yeah. Boom. So, and Jessica, I think, key beautiful access, and I know we tease and have a little fun with it, is that Zeus decision making, because that spot is that like goddess draws, Zeus creates, right? And like does something with everything that's been gathered and leads. You are tremendous in your leadership and influence. And my challenge for all of us is if we're too much in Zeus, to find more of our goddess, fun and aspirational, and also from our goddess to find our Zeus to do a beautiful thing with all that we draw. So just 2 cents in my thought. But what do you have for scoring, Jess?
Thank you. And Sean, can I just have a little framework in terms of the scoring? If you're saying in 2 words, what am I scoring?
You're scoring the opening of the listening, as well as putting something at stake for L. So the opening of the listening, emotional rapport, and the putting something at stake for L, meaning something mattered to her, touching on pain. Yeah.
Okay. So I would have to say, I'll start with Tony. I would say both Tony and Chip would be same in terms of rapport. But Tony, I definitely feel like the stake part was more there. So I would say 7 for Chip, 8 for Tony.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Very nice. And how did that feel?
Horrible.
Okay, so, and let's play with this for a second. What felt horrible about it?
To have to grade someone. It's like, I love, like I'm used to doing feedback, but the grading part and having to put people against each other and have to say one is less than the, it's just,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa. Who said put people against each other?
No.
Whoa. Amazing, Jessica. Because don't we say that competing is when we conspire together?
Oh, I like that reframe.
Right? Isn't that beautiful? And process mastery is the counting of things, because we can't until we know something is like a certain level of a measurement, like on a passion test, perhaps, right? Then how do we know where to go from there? Like we create a baseline and then we have acceleration growth. So beautiful. We're just having fun. And thank you.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Tony Rodrigues, brother, Get Up and Grow. What do you got for your feedback?
What's up, brother? First of all, I think that this is kind of wild because obviously my name is Tony. So when you say Tony, I perk up. And my nickname in high school was Chip. So that's really kind of funny. Every time you speak, I'm like, so that's kind of funny. So I'll just say that.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of, it's an interesting name situation today. So I'll start with Chip. Chip, I can feel your heart, and I know that you're going in the right direction. A couple of notes that I took was that you took a little long to get to what the topic was, right? I'm like, okay, so it was taking a little longer to get to the juice, so to speak. And then again, we already spoke about the questions that were kind of closed-ended questions. So they just give you one answer. Now you got to speak again. So you're not really drawing enough information from them. But with that said, you did great because I can feel that, where it is that you're going. And I can feel it because I'm seeing you, I'm looking at you, and I can hear your words. So kudos to you on that. Just asking the open-ended questions, whatever those may be. So I'm not going to get into that. With Tony, dude, you were killing it. First of all, you've got that caramel voice or whatever you call it, right? You got people mesmerized. I think you did great right from the get-go because you were asking great questions, open-ended questions that led her to give you information willingly. To Jessica's point, though, for both you and Chip, it felt like you were leading them down the road to a sale, right? And when certainly, listen, when Sean comes in, he's like the silent assassin from 5 miles away. You don't even see him coming. So to put that into context is the questions are being asked, and I guarantee you, Elle wants to come back on the conversation. She's like, wow, I guarantee you, she's probably thinking, man, I hope he takes my call, kind of that situation, because you want to leave them wanting. So with that said, I think both of you guys did great. And the tweaks, I'm actually anxious to listen to the next segment. So with that said, Chip, love you, and I'll give you a 5. And Tony, you were killing it. I'm gonna give you like a 7. I'm gonna give you a 7. I'm gonna give you a 7 because there's room there, so that you don't, the person doesn't feel like they're being sold or taken down the path to where they may not want to go.
Awesome, Tony.
Strong with the force you are. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That was awesome.
Yoda is making an appearance. That, by the way, in the unblinded hierarchy of Star Wars characters, I am Yoda. That was like the greatest moment of my life that just occurred. Thank you, Tony. That was remarkable.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
that is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So an incredible reference, you dropping it, Elle. This is like one of my favorite days ever on Real Raw. Janine, last and certainly not least, what do you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to echo what everyone said. You both really did amazing, and certainly it's much easier in this seat looking in than being in your seat. But I would love to share a little bit. First of all, Chip, your heart is you just wearing it on your sleeve. You are just so authentic that your voice in and of itself, there's an ease. There's such an ease to it that you just gravitate into the conversation. So for that in and of itself, it was just nice to watch because it was just easy. With some feedback, what I would say is it did feel a little bit like there wasn't enough context around it for me. I think something that may help in the future is even just understanding, opening up with, what does joy even mean to you? So that way that there's just some more, understanding around where the conversation's even going, because I wasn't even clear where the conversation was going. As you were asking her questions up front, that you were saying, I'm going to ask you some questions, I was getting nervous. I'm like, where is he going with this? So if I had known that it was about joy and what joy means, it might have given me a little bit more of a piece, and I could ease into it. Next is when she said a 9, I would listen and I would say, well, tell me about that 9. What does that 9 mean to you? And then I think Sean actually said this a little bit is, well, what would it look like to go from 9 to a 10? How are we going to get you from that 9 to the extraordinary 10? So just some little, little tweaks like that, I think would have taken it from where you were to something that even more spectacular. But overall, great job. Again, it's much easier sitting here being the quarterback, the Monday morning quarterback, but I would definitely give you at least a 7. So thank you again. Tony, with you, I would just say right out of the gate, I wanted to be on the other end of your questions. I was floating away because they were just so emotional. They were immediately building rapport. I wanted to steal Elle away and sit down and be there so I can be on the other end of those questions, because it really did. It made me want to actually be in your presence because you were focusing on me. Like the questions were about me. So there's very little feedback. The only thing that I would say is, again, the context up front. I wasn't sure what that context was, so a little more pre-framing. And at the end, right when you said, hey, the phone's ringing, I'll fill you in more in the end. I actually would have loved to give a little bit more of a cliffhanger and give her a taste of what you were going to give her. I think that would have made that next conversation be even sweeter, because she could have been thinking about that the whole time. Otherwise, it kind of left me in like this deep abyss. So that would only be my only feedback. As far as a score, is an 8+, 8.5. Only because there's always room to grow, and that would be it. But you both were fantastic. Great job.
Awesome job, judges. Awesome job, judges. So thank you for that. And gentlemen, and we'll ask like what's present for you in a little bit, but let's, for the sake of time, because we've had a lot of fun and chatting around, let's drop into round 2. So Chip, and again, Tony, beautiful job. In round 2, again, this is about how you, now, you can do whatever you want in the 3 minutes. If you'd like to, put something a little bit more at stake, no problem. But here's where you drop into who you are, what you do, and the yes that you're seeking. So Chip, in round 1, you went first, which means you retain choice in round 2. Would you like to go first or second?
Now I'm going to give Tony a chance to go first this time and defer to him in that regard.
Awesome. Tony, sir, are you ready?
I still got to go to the bathroom, but yeah, I'm hanging tough.
So Tony can go first. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tony has the official, there's like my shoelace untied, my hamstring was pulled, and I have to go to the bathroom.
All right. Just so we're all clear, look, this is my water. This is my water, and my protein is sitting in me. So I am just loving this whole moment. And when I go later, I will think about how empty I feel when I was so filled up just a little while earlier. So
well, Tony, final, we could, do it either way. We've never had this, but you could always do round 2 from the restroom if you need to. So just
no, that's all right. We've got too much stuff to do today. So I'm excited to go.
All right. 3 minutes. Take it away.
Elle, I got to tell you, I felt really, really bad. I had to go, and I know you did too. We were talking a little bit about gratitude and how important that was in our last conversation. And I didn't want to lose hope or sight of your family and how important your family is to you. So one of the things that I would love to know, because it's going to be really helpful for kind of telling you a little bit about what I do and how I show up in this world. We all have fantasies. We all have all these ideas in our minds, things that we want to achieve. And then there's these things called possibility. And we hope one day that we'll get the chance to do it. And eventually there's reality. And the only thing that I've got certain for you and me right now, Elle, is this, that you had a big fantasy of wanting to hang out and spend time with your family more and more and more and more. But, running a $20 million company is not easy. It doesn't matter how many people are on your team. At the end of the night, you still have all that worry on your shoulders. And that weight is something that doesn't go away. Doesn't matter who runs your team, only you are the owner. So what I wanted to do is tell me something that you would love to do in this lifetime of a lifetime.
First, I would say that I used to feel that pressure, but I don't really feel it anymore. And I think it's just more of a shift in mindset that I have. And yes, I feel absolutely responsible. And, especially the whole coronavirus, I spent a lot of time figuring out how I could keep my team employed. So I definitely feel responsible, but it's not like I used to be a big time worrier, and now I just know it's going to work out. So that, and what do I want to do? Last year, I took my family and we spent a whole month, 5 weeks in Italy, and that was fantastic. And I would think I would like to go back.
Can I go with you? That's my dream too. That picture up there is my wife and Mossa Labrense. We spent almost 5 weeks as well. Where'd you go in Italy?
We went to Venice, Florence, Naples, and Rome. Rome was my favorite. I don't know why I forgot Rome.
So with your family, connection is everything to you, correct?
Yes.
Cool. If you could find a way to travel more, would you like to do that?
We travel a lot, so no, not really.
So just connection is most important. Doesn't matter where you're at, as long as you're with your family.
Yes.
Cool. Well, there's some steps, and I gotta tell you one thing. It's not about the sale for me.
Oh, 10 seconds.
At the end of the day, my thing is about connection and community and how I connect you with the people in the world. That's all I care about. So here's the one thing I'll leave you with. You're a beautiful soul. I hope you travel with your family wherever you go. And thanks for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Thanks. And I know, Tony, I had read about your mission in life, create a community where entrepreneurs know they can achieve anything they want. And that is a passion I share because because I went and did it on my own. I mean, I was broke. I mean, I was searching for quarters in my car to, find money to eat. Like, I know that pain, and I think that would be something that we really share. I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Yeah, Ella, there's something. I'll just talk for 2 seconds, Sean, if that's cool, really quick.
Yeah, sure.
When I was the kid who wanted to commit suicide, when my marriage was, ripped apart, caused by me, when I was in my drugs and my addiction, and I've been a little clean and sober over 11 years, put my marriage back together, was able to show up and be a father and deal with all the wreckage that I had caused, right? The one thing that became really, really apparent is that the one thing I don't want to lose is the one thing that I thrive for every single day. So it's relationships. And so I created my Be Fulfilled community based to help people, despite anything they've ever gone through, find anything that they need despite everything that they think, and just give them access to relationships and connections and resources. And I'm not there to make money. It's my mission in life is to show people to live a life that they can be fulfilled. Because I think that's why we are all created. We're here to find fulfillment. So I do it on a professional front, and all I wanted to do was on a personal front. And the moment I shifted from needing to get something, I got everything I wanted. Because there's no place to get. There's no place to get.
Beautiful. Really nice, Tony. Excellent. So thank you, sir. What's present for you and after round 2, Tony?
I had to go pee really, really bad. So that's number 1. So I'm gonna just acknowledge that, because if you've ever had your bladder pushing on you, you're like, all right, I gotta go. No, I think, for me, this is awkward. It's totally awkward for me because I'm not a person that sells. I lead with my heart, not my wallet.
Right.
And I let the heart do the rest, and the wallet takes place. It gets secondary. So my heart fills up and I feel fulfilled. If I lead with my wallet first, it may fill up and be empty and meaningless at the end. So I don't ever serve that way. So this is totally awkward because it's not what I show up as. I show up to share and love and help. So I'm not, you can always say we're all salespeople. We're always selling something to somebody at any given moment, no matter what. So I think what showed up for me was I shifted a little bit of my listening. Is probably not how I do it normally, but I think the obvious thing for me, I was really interested in where she was going in life. I could give 2 ships about me, because in that moment, I really did care about Elle and listening and loving on her for who she is and how she was living her life. I was more fascinated by her travels, and I could repeat all the places you went, because I want to move and live in Italy. So that's my dream. So I was like, bam, all right, keep talking.
Yeah. So curiosity, you said that this is awesome. And I think what's present is the potential for breakthrough at all moments always. You said, I'm not used to this. What do you think this is?
Well, for me, the approach, and I had zero context of what I was walking into. I said yes because someone said show up on the show. I didn't know what I was walking into. No prep work, no nothing, right? So I came in, I'm like, all right, here we go. Ask a question. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So here we go. So this for me is an hour or 2 to be 100% present with nothing and nowhere to be. So for me, that's all this really is just a conversation.
Yeah.
So that's where I was for this, is just in a conversation.
So, and again, this is because I'm so honored by your being here and building a relationship. I hope that when you're hearing real raw, hello to yes, the fun excitement of acceleration, you're not hearing make people do things and get them to give you their wallet. Because watch this. Hey, Elle?
Yes.
Do you think I am sales pushy, or do I lead with my heart?
You lead with your heart.
Tony, do you think I'm sales pushy or lead with my heart?
Dude, all heart.
Jessica, do you think I'm sales pushy or lead with my heart?
With your heart.
Yeah. Janine?
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Sean, you're all heart. Your heart was in my hand this morning. It was an amazing conversation.
Okay. And in influencing juries, for everybody that's listening, to compensate my clients in cases that they had their company stolen from them, they were defrauded. If I wasn't able to influence people to see what they weren't seeing, then my client would have been tragically destroyed, clients, by wrongdoers and evildoers. And the whole concept of all this, and I'm so excited, to introduce this work to Tony and Chip and everybody, and thank David, is this work stands for the proposition that Gandhi had influence as a superpower, and he created change. And Martin Luther King had influence as a superpower and created change. And Malcolm X had influence as a superpower, and when he detected that there was an integrity breach by, as he saw it, by Elijah Muhammad, he had influence and stepped away over himself and others to reveal truth. And influence created Paul Revere's ability to wake up the people when the British were coming. And influence created the United States. And influence overcame the Germans, as Churchill mobilized independent citizens to rescue the British army as they were about to be killed by the Germans. So if somehow in my communication today, Tony, I gave you the impression that this is about getting somebody's wallet, I apologize. I don't know how or when I did it, but I would hope that didn't happen. The mechanism.
I mean, perfect. Everything you just said was spot on. So be the change is the way I live my mantra. It's basically in my whole life, right? So be the change, right?
Yeah.
It's up to me. It's not up to everybody else, because first I have to do it myself. So all I can tell you is I'm so grateful that I've get an opportunity to have my ears open and my mind available so that I could listen to your genius. So I really appreciate the context and the conversation.
Yeah. And I'm listening to yours. So never in any way, shape, or form, I want to go forward, because we're looking to build this work at the Real Raw to stand for the proposition that influence is a superpower. And when we unlock it, we make the world a greater place. This is about influencers influencing influencers to merge ecosystems for 1 + 1 = 1 trillion, or at least more than 10 relationships to make the world a greater place. And that trillion could be money, because I was just at an event not long ago. In fact, Tony Robbins' birthday, where $20 million was raised to free women from sex trafficking. And as we mentioned, all those other leaders, Gandhis and Martin Luther Kings, they weren't leading from an economic space. They were influencing from a space still of unblinding and truth in a non-economic capacity to create other dramatic and far-reaching results. So what we share here is that everything that we're up to and doing is how folks can go from hello to yes, in whatever yes that's the most impactful and relevant to their growth. And, I've been privileged and honored to have 125 people that work for Callagy Law. And we've been fortunate enough to basically maintain everybody through Corona and keep those jobs and those people employed. And that's been because of influence and with integrity. And then we could use influence for like total lack of integrity and hurt and destroy and take and manipulate, which is what I think sales was. And integrity-based human influence in this platform is about what sales is at its truth, at its Paul Revere, George Washington, Martin Luther King, Helen Keller level of impact and absolute influence. So thank you for letting me share that quick monologue. Chip, are you ready for round two?
I am. And I wanted to say first, Tony, I feel your heart on this, and I love that. And Sean, it's wonderful hearing you with this. And it's a little strange or gamified, I guess, in the sense that we have the 3 minutes and we have judges and folks looking at us, and it feels a little different than it does in real life. But I love what you had to say about influence. And if you have something that you morally feel helps other people, then you absolutely have an obligation to present it in the best light. And I love that.
In its truthful light, which you and Tony do. You and Tony do. And so final on this, in our ability to influence others, one could say, and we could debate this, and this is a great conversation. We're real and we're raw right now. That's what this place is, right? We could debate this. I'm me, and whoever finds me, they're meant to find me. That's one thought, right? Another thought is, if I'm communicating with somebody, I share what I share, and they get it, then they do or they don't. What I believe is that it's my moral responsibility, if I can have an impact on the integrity-based income, financial abundance somebody makes, their time freedom to spend with their family. I had the privilege and blessing of my kids playing 1,000 sporting events. I missed 9 total because I had the ability to create leverage in my work that created freedom in my time in the capitalist structure we live in America. And finally, I think, which is what most people want, is ultimately the magic, the legacy, the destiny. And in a capitalist structure, we do count money, we count things. It costs money to free girls from sexual slavery, to spread messaging, to end blindness and change the unemployment rate for the blind, which is something I do on the board of the American Foundation for the Blind, the organization that Helen Keller founded and was the voice and face of. And so we can impact and influence in whatever way we see fit. But I would think it would, for me, that would include the capacity to influence in action, but also influence how people spend their money and decisions they make. So that's just my 2 cents. And, so thank you, everybody for listening, everybody watching. And that's what the Real Raw is, where we talk about real things and we learn from each other. So thank you, Tony, for teaching me, Chip for teaching me. And hopefully there's some things I shared that made some sense too with everybody. So Chip, are you ready for round 2?
We'll just go with yes. Are we getting started again?
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear me or no?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And listen, by the way, this is also like freedom of all things. So if you'd rather like skip round 2 and we could just chat about what we're talking about and make that round 2 for 3 or 4 minutes, that's totally cool too. This is like a total free flow environment to have impact on what we're talking about. So we could share some more thoughts on the conversation. We can go into round 2, whatever you feel you'd prefer.
Yep. Actually, I will go on to round 2, and I'm happy to do this, and the feedback has been phenomenal. So I'm happy to get this and become better at that influence and helping other people lead a better life. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's what your work is in the world, brother. And I'm hearing that loud and clear. And, thank you. So take us in. Elle, 3 minutes, round 2.
Okay. Hi, Chip.
All right. Hey, Elle, thank you very much for that. I appreciate the time with you. And I just want to say, I felt this completely talking with you. I love that you are a happy person and that you gave yourself a 9 out of 10, and that I can tell that you love the time with your family. I took trips to Italy as well, and Venice and Florence and Rome, and I just love that. Just real quick about me, I had suffered from depression. I ran a successful business. I had a stroke and realized I wasn't happy in that business. And I sold the business 2 months after having the stroke. And what I did at that time is I went back to learn how I could engineer joy in my life. And I have been where you are, the 9 out of the 10. In fact, I would say that I was there last year. And I've learned one of the strategies that I use, which is called affirmed life philosophy. And it completely took the lid off of happiness and opened it up to joy. And it made such a big difference in my life. And I no longer felt sad when I looked at my kids as they were aging, because I would never have those moments back again. And it's all because of a strategy and a tactic that I used that helped open joy in my life. And what I want to ask for you, and I mean this sincerely, if it's something that can help you, great. If it's not, that's completely fine. But if I had a way that could help you go from a 9 to a 10 in how you feel about life, and actually go from happiness to just joy, which I define as something that's internal and something that's sustained and consistent bliss in your life, is that something you'd like to have a conversation about?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
All right, that's wonderful. Well, what I'm going to do here is just set up a time. I have 30 minutes available, and if that's okay for you, I'd like to go ahead and book that time, and we can set it up now. And I have a Calendly link here, so we can figure out the best time for you on that. And what we're going to do is just talk about turning your 9 into a 10. And if I can help with that, great. And if I can't, then that's completely fine too. But I think you're going to really get a lot of this just from what I've heard about you and the fact that you love science and that you are already at a 9 and ready to go to a 10.
That sounds great, Chip.
All right, wonderful. And I don't know what we're...
Yeah, very nice job. What was present for you in that round 2?
You know, it felt better, and actually your talk beforehand influenced my talk on that. And yeah, just like Tony on this, I don't do it for a paycheck, or I'm not after someone's wallet unless it's something that, and I'm not after their wallet, period. But I don't like the way that sounds. But if I know that this is something that can truly help someone, and in this case, I really do think I know that we can take someone from a 9 to a 10 on joy and teach the difference between what is happiness and what joy is. And when I feel that I can truly help someone with that, again, I feel like I have the moral obligation to paint it in the best light and to do that. And I hope that showed through just in talking with her, because that's really in my heart to be able to help other people with that.
Yeah,
maybe that's not Zeus enough, but that might be Goddess. But
no. Zeus is the energy of decision. You were in pure flowing Zeus energy because you were explaining the decision that there's a difference between a 9 and a 10. Zeus energy doesn't mean manic. It doesn't mean overpowering. It doesn't mean harm. It's just the energy of decision. Jessica is an incredible relationship coach. And here's the difference between Zeus and Goddess. You know, it might be interesting if you, took a look at your passion in life. And, so if you ever thought about that, great. Here's Zeus. Hi, my name is Jessica. And it seems like you love your wife and family a ton. And the work that I do is really about where passion comes from and what it is, and harnessing it to have the most beautiful, rich, and fulfilling relationship that you could ever have with your wife. So how do you feel about that? That's Zeus energy. Goddess is gather, flow. Zeus is clear, share, and direct, not control. Does that distinction make sense to you, Chip?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like, so, hey, we're Crazy Eddie today, and it's insane. And today you have the ability to buy everything in my store for nothing. And this is the greatest list brokering we've ever done. And it's a $9,000 billion program for 99 cents. Come, because I did a list share with the affiliate marketing people. That's not what it sounds like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Crystal. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So, feedback. Let us start with Jessica.
I love it. I'm first. All right. Thank you for that. I took notes, Sean. I took notes, and I love the coaching on the Zeus energy. Definitely rings true. So I must say, starting with Tony, I must say that you took me down a path where at first I loved your questions, building rapport, but then I always had at the back of my mind, you had shared stuff with us prior to the role play. I'm like, man, I kind of just wish he was saying that instead. So it started off as a 6, and then you're like, okay, so can we count the 2 minutes? We have to count the 2 minutes, right? The extra 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that brought it up to like an 8.5. It really did. It's like telling your story, building the rapport. It, like that was like, first question, great. I would just love to hear your story. Even when you started sharing, like, oh, this is a picture with my wife in Italy. That was just like, okay, cool, whatever. But when you're like, I want to move to Italy, like I want to live there. Like when you were talking about it, that was so real, and that really brought me in. The only thing that just didn't make a 10 is that I would have wished you had given me the opportunity to say yes to something. So like, I don't know what it is your program is. I'm assuming it's a membership. Let's just assume it is. Just if you had told me, listen, Jess, I really, like you said, like wallet is not my thing. Like, you know, I still have to feed my kids kind of thing, but it's like, let me give you access for 15 days to my membership platform, and you can cancel it before they start charging you, before the system starts charging you if you don't like it. And I would have been like, okay, let me put my credit card information in. I want to be in this fulfillment stuff. Like, and I'm the type of person, I'm also like an 8 and 9, right? So that's my advice.
Yeah. And Jessica, yeah, I agree. Tony dropped the mic in the segment where he just continued and displayed his unique identity. It was completely heroic. And I want to do this in service of everybody because I love people and I love revealing truth. One of the things that concerns me in the space of coaching, training, sharing is I'll sit in a room with somebody that's worth $600 million, Tony Robbins, and I'll hear people who paid $10,000 to be there say about other people in the room, oh, they're money motivated, right? And not about me, right? About people. Like I'll hear people, it's like, well, they're not spiritual enough. They're not money motivated enough. So one of the things that I think is so critical about integrity-based human influence is to first realize that its first rule here is unconditional love of people without judgment. Like unconditional love of people without judgment. We assess behavior, but not judge people. And so the jump off point, when we get into the concept of, to me, of money motivated or not, and we're talking in a space that we're doing business where people pay us money, it becomes a slippery slope of complexity. And to me, as T. Harv Eker has talked about and Tony Robbins has talked about, the complexity of our relationship with money and how we stand and where we stand ourselves as we project and have conversations around it about others. So that's something that is really present for me in the space of training, speaking, business, and it's very consistently present. So my offering to anybody is to make sure we align with like, what is money? And here's my alignment. Money is nothing but an exchange of value. And anytime I exchange money, the exchange of value, I'm going to make sure the other person gets more than I got, period. Amen. If it's money, they get more. If it's time, they get more out of it, right? If it's energy, they get more. Whatever it is, I want to be on the short side of giving every single time. And if somebody pays me $10 million, I've been paid $10 million. I've had that blessing and privilege. They got 70 million. So like, that's how it works. Like to me, exchange of value, it's just a prism we could offer out to people. Okay. Tony, what's up, brother? Tony R.
Well, listen, hey, listen, so, listen, I love this. I love both of you guys, your journeys, your missions, I can so relate because I am in the same position that you guys are, that it's really sharing my message is more about sharing the message and making an impact than it is about the money. I can respect that, but I'll say this to both of you guys. This really is not about sales. It's about influence. And remember that influence, if you can have more influence and you can have more people say yes and make more money, then you can have much more of an impact throughout the world, because the more successful you are, the more of an impact, the more outreach you can make in the world. So I just encourage you guys listen, I've had this money struggle myself, that relationship with money that T. Harv and Tony talk about. I've done it. I'm not going to get into it now, but that's certainly something that's powerful. But just keep in mind that the more yeses you get, the more opportunities you get to present to more people, to make more impact, to have that positive impact in the world. So kudos to both of you guys. Loved both of it. You both improved. I'm going to say that, Tony, to Jessica's point as well, you did freaking phenomenal. You're awesome at what you do. The only thing that was missing was that you didn't go for the yes, right? So go for the yes, because if you don't, just remember that we're all here in service. And if you don't go for the yes and try to put it this way, if you don't go for the yes, you may be doing them a disservice by not giving them the opportunity to learn from you, to be able to share that out to everyone else.
No, I Can I just add one thing really quick because it's super powerful for me. So I learned a long time ago, this is my motto. It says, don't take somebody's yes, no, or maybe away from them. Share what you're up to. And if it's for them, great. And if it's not for them, great. But at least you shared. And that's where I fell short. So I really appreciate both of you acknowledging it, because it's just, you just take notes. You just go, hey, I forgot to tie my shoe today. I tripped up a little bit, but at least I still have shoes.
Listen, here's the good thing. We're both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And that's okay. Yeah. So it's beautiful that you can acknowledge that. And absolutely, listen, we're all growing. We're all getting unblinded, right? We're all learning to see a little clearer every day. So good on you, man. And Chip, to you again, huge heart, love your mission. I love that you actually did go for the yes and you got it, right? So kudos to you. I'm going to keep it short, guys, because I know that we're way over time already. So I'm going to do this. Tony, it's hard to give a 10. So I'm going to give you like a solid 9. I want to say 9.5 because the only thing that was missing was to go for the yes. And Chip, you also carried it through, and you went again all heart, and you did go for the close. So I'm going to give you a 9. You had a tremendous jump, So I'll give you a 9 and a 9.5.
So there's room for improvement. Nice. Thank you.
Hey, before we go to Tony, real quick, right? So I struggle with wanting to say yes. And I struggle with, at times, holding people I lead accountable because I want them to be happy and to like me. And so when they don't, it makes me feel a little bit guilty. This is all true. Is that space that you help people with?
Yeah, but here's the piece for me. Rephrase your question for me one more time, because I want to hear one thing that I just heard. Just want to spit it back to you. Can you just ask the question again in context?
Yeah. So I feel levels of guilt at times when I hold people accountable that work for me, right? And I like to please people, and sometimes I let people perform suboptimally and not get to their dreams and hopes, which is something that I stand for in the world, because I want them to be happy. I don't want them to be upset with me. I feel guilty. Is that something you, Tony, could coach me on? Is that the space that you coach people on? Is that included in the space you coach people on?
Yes.
Okay. So if I don't realize how uniquely, and by the way, I've been carrying that with me since my dad was an alcoholic as a child. And I've been in a mode of avoiding conflict generally when it's in intimate relationships, deep friendships. I avoid conflict. I don't confront like I confronted in this conversation today. And if I carry that forward with me, I'm going to imagine, Tony, from your work, that's going to continue to bring up pain and things that are painful in my life. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, just like so there's interesting triggers, right? So anytime I hear father, anytime I hear alcoholic, I go back to my father, right? So my dad was an alcoholic. I grew up with basically 5 legacies on my father's side of alcoholics. So my dad molested me when I was 13 years old.
Wow.
That was my graduation present from junior high. And I talk about it openly because it's something that I learned. But when my dad was dying of Alzheimer's, I was able to hold his hand and told him I forgave him and I love him.
Wow.
Right. I was able to let go of all the pain that he caused because my aunt called after my dad had passed and said, hey, I just wanted to give you some context so you can have some ideas and thoughts. I said, what is that? She's like, we used to be your dad and myself, we used to be fed in dog bowls. We were locked up in kennels after school every day from their way that they were brought up. So trigger words are really, really important for me, and they're really important for the world because we all have them, and you know what buttons to push. If you're ever in an argument with someone you love, you know that you push a button, bam, you snap them into that trigger point. So part of the reason why my mission is to help people despite their past is because I have a pretty unusual past. Just like everybody on here has a pretty unusual past. Around the same time that happened, it's really just been a blessing for me to be here today. I threw a record at somebody when I was in 5th grade going into 6th grade over a summer, and I blinded somebody in their eye.
Oh.
And I've lived with that burden that I caused an immense amount of pain for all of my life because I caused somebody to look in a direction that made their eye get sliced.
So Tony, Thank you for sharing that, all that vulnerably. And a lot of people, now I'm a potential client, legitimately, a lot of folks have had a lot of hard experiences.
Yep.
But I think what I'm hearing is you're not only motivated, you created a technology and a system for helping people live their most authentic life and get through those past pains. Am I hearing that correctly?
Amen. Yep. We're all pushing life's dumpster, and I help people to get to the other side of it and actually hold their loved ones instead of having all that stuff be pushed into them.
Yeah. So would you mind, in benefit of everybody here, particularly me, right, in telling me in about 60 seconds why your technology is unique, how you help people get through their wounds of the past to live their most authentic and fulfilling life?
Wow. Thanks for the opportunity. I mean, Be Fulfilled was created out of the necessity to save my life when I was brokenhearted and didn't know where I was going or what I wanted out of my life. And someone showed me that it's been inside of me all of my life, that I'm phenomenal. I have great ideas, but I just didn't know how to find my own blind spots. So using the program Be Fulfilled, the journey to fulfillment is just really 12 unique opportunities for you to uncover your true truth. And there's the stories we've been telling ourselves since we were little kids. There's the things like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never be anybody in this world, to the ideas that you can be absolutely 100% happy if you actually are willing to do the work. There's one thing that I'll share. When you got out of bed this morning and I asked that question, you know, what was the first thought? It wasn't about you. It was about all of the stuff that you have to do. What happens if in 12 weeks you could get back to actually putting the own oxygen mask on yourself and start taking care of your true self instead of worrying about everybody else?
And Tony, have you helped people? Have people been helped by this program?
Yeah, well over 1,000 people.
Extraordinary. And what are some of the things they say about the program?
Life-changing is probably the woo-woo word that gets put out there, but really for them is like, thank you for giving me my life back. My past has been unlocked and I understand the stories that were holding me back from living my true potential, freedom, true expression, ability to dream and to play again.
Okay. So let me ask this final question. And I know we're over time and that happens here sometimes. Somebody's got to jump. I understand completely, but this is in service of everybody here and everybody watching. So Tony, do you think that the space of folks in coaching people to lead a happier, healthier, more fulfilled life, do you think that's a crowded space? Like that
I have blinders on because I just know the person that I'm talking to is the only one that matters.
Okay. Do you ever think that that person may be hearing messages from others that might sound similar, that don't have nearly your experience, your transformation, and your skill set? And if they're seeking the help that they need, they might not know the difference between you and somebody else unless you share it with them so they can see it, feel it, hear it. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so this work is singularly, because I want to make sure we leave like aligned today, is about truth. Because when I first started practicing law, when I first started teaching people about influence, when I first started learning these things, I heard a whole lot of people that weren't very good at helping people, lying to people. And then there are people who weren't lying to people, who just weren't very good. And there were people who were pretty good, and there were people who were better. And I was stunned when I realized some of the areas that I had my strongest skill sets in, and I was terrible at helping people see that. And so they were hiring the wrong people and getting hurt. So my work and my passion for this came from the space of watching people get destroyed in their life, literally, by hiring the wrong lawyers, by hiring the wrong doctors, by hiring the wrong accountants. And then as I moved into the space of coaching, by watching people spend fortunes or take incredible amounts of time and not get the things that they wanted and deserved. So that is the genesis of this work. So I want to make sure I'm sharing that from my heart to yours, because I want to have a long relationship, and you understand the integrity of this space and what its purpose is. So thank you for that.
I acknowledge I'd receive it. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you giving me some insight too. So thank you.
Yeah. And I thank David for this introduction, because your story in Ships is remarkable. So, and thank you for everybody for going over time. Janine, final, what do you got?
Final. Thanks, Sean. So Tony, I mean, is there anything else to say except that your courage is just outstanding? And I would only ask this question. I hope it lands correctly. What would it feel like if you weren't able to reach the people that really need to hear you? It would be such a disservice. And this piece of mastery, to be able to reach the ends of the earth, would be extraordinary, because I took the privilege of looking at your website before I got on this call, and I was intrigued at that. But now that I've heard your story, I mean, I want to root for you. I want you to reach everyone. The world needs you. It needs you, and you've heard it from everyone. The only thing wrong with the ease of the conversation you had with Elle was that it dropped. There was no final connection of yes, and I wished I saw it, because the world needs you. So that would be the only thing I would say. And the score is phenomenal. There is no score, because you hit it out of the ballpark with sharing your life. So thank you. And Chip, so much of the same. I want to just drive it home really quickly. The authenticity that's coming from the both of you is sharing your deepest part of your lives, and then going out and wanting to save the world is just astronomical. The last thing I would just say is let Elle do more talking. You just did so much of the talking that it felt more a little bit self-serving than it was to get Elle to open up and just have her share with you, so you could just land that plane in that last, in the final minutes by sharing your story. That would be it. Otherwise, you gentlemen are amazing. I've been changed by listening. I'm leaving. The gift today was listening to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sean, for putting this together. You're changing the world. You're changing the landscape of America.
No, thank you. And final, and I'll ask Chip and Tony for their final words. This is what the Real Raw is. So we're not here to do a game show, but we do have some fun. We're here to talk about influence, to unblind the world, the fact that influence is a superpower and what its place is. And all of you spent a ton of time today and went overtime doing that. I'm immensely grateful. So Chip, what would you share? And again, whatever it is, and I'm so excited to hear about it. What would you, final share about your experience today?
Well, I'm honored to be on this, and the caliber of people, the intelligence, and more importantly, the heart involved here has been magnificent. And I really appreciate that. So I'm glad David called me about this, and happy to participate on it. Part of me wishes I had done better. And I think we all have that. And especially because I believe so strongly in what I do and how it can help people. But I love getting the feedback on this. And I think that's going to sharpen what I do. And someone had mentioned in there where they can find us. For me, the thing that I have that starts people off is the Joy Jump Challenge. If you just go to joyjumpchallenge.com, it's a $28 course, which is, price of a hardback book, but it's a 7-day challenge to help people change their behaviors. Mm-hmm. And I've had 200 people go through it in the last 2 weeks. And again, I feel honored to get the kind of feedback that I'm getting on it. And I hope that it truly helps people. And I appreciate this platform. And Sean, your heart comes through loud and clear. And I love this. And Tony, it was an honor to be on the other side of this from you. I love your heart and everything you stand for. So thank you for that.
Well, Chip, you and Tony are welcome back as judges. I honor your work in the world. And you're also invited back into additional rounds of doing this should you want to do some more. So amazing. And Tony, what say you, sir?
Well, first, Chip, it's always fun to get into a ring and go round and round, and with the spectators and the judges, looking at both of us, trying to figure out who's going to out-jab one another, just to know that I can put my arm up with you and just say, hey, we had a good time today, and we had some fun going back and forth. The thing that I'm always taken back by, and anytime I get a chance to share what I'm up to in the world, is I sell myself short. And that's just something that I've done around giving stuff away, or
wait, I'm sorry. You do what?
I sell myself short.
One more time. You do what?
I don't sell myself short. Thanks.
No. I mean it. You do sell yourself short, but not.
No, I do.
But not anymore. Right.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Do. And thank you, because, and I want to just share this. When you said, well, I don't go for the wallet, like, my responsibility to the world is to make sure, this is what I perceive my responsibility to be, that people differentiate integrity and influence, and the fact that you can have integrity, influence, and make money, right? And do great things with it, and do whatever you want with it, as long as you're exchanging massive value for it. And I am not confused, brother, that you are exchanging massive value for what you get, and you are probably getting far less than you should or deserve. I don't know that, but that's my hallucination. I don't know that. But I do know that there's no way you're getting more than you should be. And so I thank you for that. And you said sell yourself short. And I think that hopefully we can put a flag in the ground and say never again, because the world does need you.
Absolutely. The interesting part, the people behind my wall, they're all my reminders. They let me know that I do show up in this world, and that they're all relationships, people from Italy, doesn't matter where I go in the world, from Greece, it's just connections. And that's what I'm a super, important to me. And so I appreciate making all these unique new connections. And then there's a bunch of attendees today. So there's two real good ways. I mean, I run a fulfillment company. I'll never sell it short, because it's my muse. It gives me the ability to do what I love in this world. It started in my garage when 19 years ago with an idea and a thought. And some friends along a journey went in with me and said, yes. So I run a company called shipoffers.com, and it's really just for me to do what I love. And it's given me a platform to create. Like I asked the question about Picasso and being able to paint on a blank canvas. That's what I get to do every day. And that's what I realize every one of us get to do every day is paint. Be creative. We have a clean slate every morning. So make sure you're painting with your brushes, all the bright colors that you want to live and show to the world. But where my work really comes in, and where I help even people that I have as clients, is really I take them through drainers and drivers. So you can go to drainersanddraivers.com. It's a free 5-day course. We're just in the middle of about re-recording some of the curriculum, but it's free. And if you're in there and you're like, hey, this is really, really cool, what's next? Then you can jump into the journal that I created. We have a series of 5 that are being done. My next big one is around recovery, and the one after that is on marriage, because they're all things that I struggled with. And so all the things that I love most in life is taking my life lessons and giving them to others so that they can avoid the pitfalls. If you remember the game in the early 80s, it was a game called Pitfall, and you had to swing on a vine.
Yes.
And there's little alligators trying to grab you the whole time, right? That's what life is about. Everybody's trying to grab at you, but the reality is you need to be like Indiana Jones and just stand in front of the idol and just take it, because we want it so badly. And then I want to help people to outrun the boulder, because that's a matter of our time is eventually going to be over when the boulder hits us.
No, love that, brother. And final, if people were to say, hey, should I go on this Real Raw thing? What is your authentic answer?
Chip, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first with that. And I was completely underwhelmed by, I'm teasing here. This was fantastic. I've learned a lot from this. And Sean, I really appreciate your time and your heart in it. And I feel that I've come away with this, with a new sense of sharpening what I do to help other people. So I really appreciate that. So my raw answer is yes.
All right. Well, thank you. Tony?
Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you're thinking, you have no clue what you're in for. Unblinded is a deal that you don't want to miss. It's something that'll leave you going, I didn't even know what I was getting into, but I survived. And coming out the other side, it's been incredible. I feel like I've got some new friends today that I can walk with in life. Sean, I'm absolutely honored to have been here, but I have to give huge thanks to David. David is one of those people in my life who just says, do it. And I say, yes, I don't ask questions. So kind of like coming on the show, just say yes, don't worry about it. Sean's a nice host and he'll take you through it really nice and easy, and you'll come out better on the other side.
Thank you. You have new friends, new fans. Amazing. And just final, I want to honor the judges one last time. 10-second, sign off each. Jessica, last 10 seconds. What say you?
I say thank you. I say I love you. I say have a beautiful day. And I cannot wait to be present for a lot more Real Raws coming up.
Thank you. Tony, your final 10 seconds, my friend.
Love it, man. The Picasso reference in painting, we're the painters of our own life. We just got to keep working to paint. Even if some days are darker than others, just keep working to paint. Appreciate all of you. And Sean, thank you for having me. Thank you all. I love being here on the panel with you judges, and Chip and Tony, you guys freaking rock. Appreciate all of you and what you do in the world. Everyone that's here.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. And Janine?
All right, thank you. So just so filled with, I would say, gratitude just to have been here and spent time with everyone, and filled with love, and just an enormous thank you to Tony and to Chip, because I would just say, as I sit here, again, it really feels great in this seat, but I've learned so much. And then Sean, just turning it back to you, your wisdom and sharing this and breaking it down in just such detail to make something seem that's so complex, make it so understandable and so palatable, is truly a gift. Like, this is worth its weight in gold, because I walk away just so edified. So just thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you. And thank you, Elle. And on behalf of Chip, Tony R., Janine, Jessica, and Elle, and the entire Unblinded community, this is a long one. I appreciate it. We're here to unblind, unlock, connect, make new friends. And that's what we did. Have an amazing and beautiful day. Thank you.